What If has just finished its run on Disney Plus. It's the first animated show in the MCU, has 9 20-minute episodes and will have another season coming. The idea for the show has been lifted directly from comic books under the same title. Each episode takes a very specific premise. What would happen if there was this one particular change in the established universe, and how would that impact things going forward? So, just to give you an example, the first 2 episodes are: what if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? And what if T'Challa was kidnapped by Yondu instead of Peter Quill and he became Star-Lord? We're watching these stories unfold through the eyes of the Watcher, voiced by Jeffrey Wright. He's this interdimensional being that can observe but never interfere. And of course, initially it seems like each episode will just be a standalone in its own alternate universe, but obviously by the end of the season the Watcher does actually intervene and some of these universes end up clashing. And with the multiverse being introduced into the mainline live-action MCU as well, I don't think it's out of the question that we'll see some of these alternate versions pop up in the movies sometime. In fact, I think What If is a fantastic idea for a sort of sandbox playground for Marvel Studios. They can make all these episodes as essentially proof of concept. And if the audience isn't wowed by a character or a premise, they just say, yeah, that's just an alternate universe and never mention it again. But if some ideas are popular with the fans, I think they can absolutely bring them over to the main universe as well. Now, about the show. Because the episodes are mostly all different, they are also uneven. And I think the more adventurous, wild and dark they dare to go, the better they are. The worst ones of the bunch for me were the ones where the changes had only limited impact on the affected world. So the Captain Carter episode is basically a rerun of the first Avenger, with almost the same events still happening, just with Steve switched out for Peggy. Or the episodes about Thor and Killmonger. They're still kind of similar to what happened in the movies, with changes only in some key moments. Now, on the other hand, some of the other episodes do go crazy. My absolute top favorite ones were the ones revolving around Doctor Strange and Ultron respectively. I think they're both fantastic in every respect, and they're really bold with their scope, but also their darkness. I mean, I don't ever see Disney doing that sort of stuff to heroes in live action. Now, having said that, even the worst episodes are still serviceable, so it's not like they're a total waste of time, it's just that they're okay, whereas the peak ones are spectacular. The animation style for me was just so-so. I think it shines when there's dynamic action, but it doesn't look at all impressive in slower moments. Fortunately, this is a comic book property, so there is actually a lot of fast-paced action and some of the fights do look incredible. It was also cool that the vast majority of the movie cast returned to voice their characters. It was especially great to hear the voice of the late Chadwick Boseman once again in what ended up being his final performance before his untimely death. And the episode dedicated to his character is like the best tribute you could possibly imagine. I also like the fact that season 1 does actually have a definite conclusion. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. And yes, the second one is coming, we know that, but I just appreciate it more when each season of a show is its own little thing, and that happens here. Overall, I think it's cool that Marvel is branching out with all the different stuff they've been trying out, in this case animation. I think there's definitely room to grow, but conceptually the show is pretty strong, and I think that the better episodes mainly offset the weaker ones. I liked it as a whole, but admittedly it is geared more towards the people who are already fans of the show, fans of the universe.